Welcome everybody! My name is Andre Cvijovic. I'm a CEO and founder of Referrizer and your host and MC for today's online conference called Top Rated Academy. This is the place where we invite you to learn from the best experts in the industry about most creative ways to grow your business. It's the tactics, strategies behind some tools that are current today. It's not knowledge written in the books 10 years ago. It's something that's relevant today and now. So what we want to do, guys, is make this as interactive as possible. So why are we doing this? Because businesses struggle. It's not an easy to grow the business, right? There's a lot of challenges, and the fact that you figured out something today doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow, right? At HFA recently, we found that fitness, wellness, local businesses are still not at the pre-COVID numbers. It's shocking, right? The industry is slowly recovering. It's getting harder to acquire new members and keep them loyal to your brand, right? Employees management, separate topic on its own. Probably separate conference to talk about how to hire, recruit, and keep people in. Great people are hard to find. Wouldn't you guys agree about this? Just put a chat number one if you agree that these are the challenges that are happening today. And I also want to know how many of you believe that uncertainty is all-time high. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. There's so many changes in different industries that are happening. Everything is more expensive. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be even more expensive soon. We don't know. But I also saw that gym owners and wellness businesses are not catching up on raising prices while their cost is going up. For that reason, for these reasons, we are organizing these events so we can bring you experts on these topics so you guys can solve the problem with something that's absolutely working today. Now, housekeeping rules. That's going to be make fun. I want you guys to engage into this conversation with the speaker, with myself. And why? Because we want to listen what these remarkable speakers are teaching us today. And everybody will have about 20 minutes. After each speaker, we'll have opportunity to rate the speaker. So you guys will get the opportunity to scan the code and give your vote and give a feedback. As well, the best speaker will carry the Best Speaker Award. And Referrizer sponsoring 10,000 SMS credits. So you can brag about your winning. We want everybody to turn on the camera. We purposely don't do webinars. Webinars looks isolated. Turn on the camera, ask questions, but keep yourself muted. Because you might be distracted and not knowing that audio is coming from you. And at the end of each speaker, you'll have time to ask questions. So how I do it, write down the questions as the speaker goes through his presentation. And then come back and just read the question. Or you can put a question in the chat and we'll read your questions at the end of each speaker. Does it make sense, guys? Put a yes on the chat if that makes sense. And the chat is in the Zoom on the bottom right, bottom left, somewhere in the Zoom. You can find a chat bubble and say, yes, I see the Bang, Milica, Ben is doing, Sandy, Jeff, IMAX, King Farm, Ben. That's awesome. Now, what we want to go with is a last event. For you guys who were attending, thank you for voting. The winner of the prize was Dave Posson. I highly encourage to go and watch the recording. He dropped some incredible knowledge. Me and Dave recorded a 2-hour podcast dissecting about how to get 50 referrals a month, every month, no exception. So we want you guys to be able to replicate that process. He shared scripts, exact processes, word by word, how you say it, when you say it, how many times you need to say it. This is a true story. These are the kind of speakers we are bringing to you so you can grow the business. And by the way, how much it costs to get referrals? Nothing. Now, for today, we want to ask you, what is your biggest challenge today? Put it on the chat. What are you fighting? What are the fires you're trying to turn off? What keeps you up at night? What would you like to find answer to? Put it in the chat. Where are the struggles that if you can remove them, your business would be way better off? If there's a magic wand you can do just to get wish, what would that be? If you get a gold wish that can fulfill 3 of your desires, what would you ask for? Let's put a business related, not personal related, right? So getting more students, get surprised. Getting more people to come in. You solve the sales retention problem, other problems get solved much easier, right? What about others? I want to make sure that we solve those problems and we find the speakers who are incredible at these topics. So, better retention. Yes. And product sales. So today we are bringing 3 incredible speakers, guys. First is going to start with Jeff Sanders with Energy Fitness. His topic is secrets behind data that will maximize your marketing ROI. If you guys are driving this business with a blindfold, not knowing what's going on in the business, it's going to crash. I have not seen better presentation and understanding and easier explanation of understanding data in your business than what Jeff does. So you're about to see something really incredible. Then the second speaker, we have Ben Ludwig. Oh my God. Guys, Ben is going to drop bomb on how incredible tools are to develop top performing sales teams. If you're one selling everything in your business, might be a reason why you're challenged with the sales. How to develop these incredible teams and scale across multiple brands. Hell yeah. You guys ready for a treat. And then myself, my favorite topic. I'm going to show you some ways to get unlimited free traffic. How to be a gold medalist in the race for the new customers. Be ready for some SEO hacks, guys. Are you guys ready? Let's put 1 in the chat. Make sure you are all in. Now, let's start with this. We have Jeff Sanders, who is a Chief Growth Officer and a partner of Energy Fitness. If you guys don't know what Energy Fitness is, go check it out. It's one of the coolest brands in the fitness out there. He's also expert in marketing, sales, and business development. Jeff ensures that company achieves its goals while adapting quickly to changing needs. He also serves as a board of the New York Fitness Alliances and a board member of HFA. He is also speaker on HFA. So guys, I'm bringing you best of the best. Jeff, welcome to Top Rated Academy. I'm going to be sharing screen with you so you can go through your slides. Mike is yours.
Perfect. So good to be here. Thanks so much for that, Andre. Yes, I'm excited to be here. It's a lot about me and, the basics. I'm very passionate about fitness, but more so even just business and understanding how to get people to walk through the doors. I saw some of that in there. People were asking about, I just want to get more people through the doors, more students. And I'm telling you, I've been on this journey with you. I'm on the same journey now every single day. That's our fight. We have our boardroom is called the Solutions Room. And we put together the right team. I'll talk about that towards the end of my talk. And we struggle together. And that's the best word to say is we struggle together how to get more people to walk through our doors. So I'm going to share a lot today about why data matters. We're going to talk about the formula we've really come up with here over the last, it's been over 15 years. I've had experience in trying to understand marketing. In the last 3.5, we've really made a lot of breakthroughs. But the formula becomes these last 3 points here is identifying how much you should be spending on marketing, on advertising, where should you be spending it, and then building the right team. But it all starts with data. And if you don't have the right data, it doesn't really matter what else, everything else is throwing darts at a dartboard. And we can't all be Ted Lasso in the scene where he comes out the hero and gets every single one he wants, right? So right now, I want to take a brief moment and talk about the importance of data. And so I want to share this. In preparation, data is not my strong suit. And I want to say that actually. And Andre maybe is like, what? I've my whole life, and I don't know if any of you guys really connect with this. I've been a people reading person, a situation reading, a gut, like my gut says, this is what we should be doing. It's been natural for me. And while I'm able to get some wins on that, I've made some big losses as well and made some big swings that didn't work out. And through life, I've started to understand, and through business, started to understand that I'm going to continue to make really amazing decisions and then really horrible decisions. They could be back to back if I don't find something to bridge the gap. It's a lot like my golf game. My first 9 holes might be great. The second 9, if any of you guys, I don't know if y'all are golfers out there, but if any of you are golfers and you start swinging, you have no idea why all of a sudden you've done nothing different, but your ball just starts going in all these different directions and you're like, what's going on? That's what happens when trying to make decisions for me on advertising spend and where do I spend and how much should and how do I get more people in. And then what I realized is I started really, really digging in data, and it happened with a few key people challenging me on, where are we getting this? I know you think that's right. Where are we getting this? And we dug into this data, and it really built an amazing bridge that's helped us become a lot more consistent. Now, again, if I were to relate to my golf game, it becomes more consistent across the 18 holes, or I'm not just throwing darts at a dartboard and depending on muscle memory, I'm letting data really dictate what we should be doing. So I'm going to share some of these with you. You can see it on the screen there. Research has found that robust analytics not only justify marketing spend, but also lead to more precise allocation of resources. How many people here, as you're listening to this, would love to know how to be very confident in how much you're spending and be able to make decisions a little faster and more accurate, right? And that's what we're talking about that data does. If you look at it, studies indicate marketers who use real-time data to tweak campaigns see a 50% higher conversion rate. We're talking about getting more people in the doors, right? Data will help us decide and learn how to get more of those people indoors. And these last two, if you're writing anything down, if you're taking notes, these are the two that you need to walk away from. The Arbington Group, they do a bunch of amazing studies throughout the year. They did a study that said data-driven companies, so not gut, not I know my community, I know my people. Data-driven companies are 5 times faster and more accurate in decision making than those relying on intuition. And listen, I'm a big intuition person. And I think as entrepreneurs and as business people, we get into that. We naturally are intuition driven people. Like that's a natural thing for most of the ones I've met. I think me learning this, it really challenged me to understand I have to start understanding better how data really can interact on a day to day business and help me become, who doesn't want to become 5 times faster and more accurate in decision making? That's what we're all striving for. So data is really going to help you do that. And finally, Deloitte also found that fitness brands using analytics saw a 35% boost in strategic precision, leading to membership growth and higher revenue. So I want to pause for a second there. And I just want to throw out and let that kind of just meditate in for a second, in that data has to be a big part of what you're using as you're working to identify how to become more efficient and how to get more people to walk in your doors. The consumers are becoming extremely intelligent. They're more intelligent now than they were 5 years ago, 15 years ago, 30 years ago, and they're going to continue to get more intelligent. AI, you're going to hear a lot about that, right? That's helping consumers become even more intelligent. So what we have to understand is walking away from what we think we've always done or what we used to do or what we think might work and really start spending some detailed time getting into the data and understanding it better. As you begin understanding your data better, you can start to really understand your customer and really start understanding how much should I be spending in advertising. I think sometimes we put a random number, and I'm going to tell you what happened with us. 3 years ago, we sat down and we go, well, what should we spend on advertising? There was no set. I Googled it. Anybody here, you Google things when you have questions, right? You look it up. There's no set like amount for someone to spend. So we just picked a number. Let's spend 5,000 a month, right? Let's spend 7,000 a month. Then we're looking, we need more leads. Let's spend 9,000 a month. Then we came to the point of like, hey, you know what? What happens if we triple our budget? What will that do for us? We kept guessing along the way. But what happened as we started understanding our customer acquisition costs, we started understanding where we're moving and what we're going forward, how the money spends really impacts what we're doing. It helped us to better start defining our spend. So the formula we're talking about that we really nailed on, and I shared that earlier, is what you need to become efficient and cracking this code of marketing and advertising is really knowing how much should you be spending, where should that money go, and then having the right team dynamics to help make your decisions. So this right here, this slide, I want to spend some time on because I think when we're talking about data and we're talking about understanding where we should spend things, these key formulas here, screenshot it, write them down, email me afterwards. I'll send you everything I have, anything I can do to help you guys out. You have to start here. And now some of these may seem like, yes, that's a no-brainer. I do that already. And some of you might, I've never even heard of that before. But I want to explain why these are important real quick. And I want to explain how you're going to be able to use these to understand better where and how you should be spending your money. So lifetime value, you have to understand what is the full value of the lifetime of a customer that you have. And so you can do that simply. You can look at the formula here, your average revenue per member times your average membership duration. These aren't going to be wow formulas, by the way. I hope you're not looking for something so unknown that you've never heard of. It's going to be how we use these formulas that really matters. But if you don't understand the lifetime value of a customer, it's the foundation of everything else that you have to understand. You have to understand, what does your customer acquisition cost you? So this is something really interesting for us. I'll give you our example. We were digging into our numbers and trying to understand better, and someone threw out customer acquisition cost, and we're like, "What is this?" We start learning, researching it, looking into it. For us, we, based on our lifetime value, we can spend up to $400 to acquire one new customer and still maintain a healthy profitability in that customer. So you hear that number, and these formulas, this data gives you that. All of a sudden you're looking at, well, our Facebook leads went from $5 a lead to $30 a lead. Do we need to stop Facebook? You can spend up to 400 per person who signs up, right? It changes the data, opens your eyes and helps you understand the perspective. Like, wait a second, we're spending an average of, at that time, we were spending 185 to 200 per customer. And when we learned we could spend up to 400, it helped us to understand we can spend a lot more money to get more people to come through our doors, right? So your customer acquisition, and this is key when you're figuring this out, you have to put your total advertising plus your new sales expenses. Now, that's going to be, do you pay a commission? Do you give away a free training session or a free experience of any kind? Do you pay a staff member for that? Anything it costs you to get that person to join, you're going to add those two together, and then you're going to divide that by the total new members acquired. So you can see if you spent 20,000 and you had 100 new members, you have a $200 cost per acquisition. This is important because think about how often you struggle with, well, do I need to pay a higher commission? If I paid a higher commission, could my conversion percentage jump up? Could I get more people to sign up if my team was more motivated? This single number right here, and knowing what your acquisition cost is per customer, helps you to make these important decisions that ultimately are going to drive your business forward. Now, this next one, the customer acquisition ratio, again, something I had never heard of. And this is why I'm sharing this. And I want people to start learning and knowing this because it makes such a big impact. When you look at your lifetime value and you divide that by your customer acquisition cost, you're going to get what's called the CAC ratio. Now, the CAC ratio, this is industry standard. This is a standard that is measured across industries on what's healthy or not healthy. When you do that, if you have a 3-to-1 ratio or higher, you're healthy. Why does this matter? When we did ours at Energy, the first time we did it, when we were identifying all these to understanding, we were at an 8-to-1 ratio. So what that means and what it means to your business is if you're sitting at an 8-to-1, 9-to-1, 5-to-1, 6-to-1, guess what? You can spend more money than you're spending currently on advertising because you have room to go lower in your ratio before you get to an unhealthy level. So it helped us decide, should we spend more money? We can spend more money because we understand our customer acquisition cost. We understand now how much we can spend, and we understand with our ratio that we have room to put more money into this. So this data and these KPIs and these data points specifically, if you start seeing, they start helping you take the guesswork out of what you're looking for. And that's what it did for us. We were able to start making these more decisions. Well, we can spend twice our budget, right? And that's scary when you don't look at data and you're looking at, oh man, I'm going to start spending how much? 10,000, 20,000, 3,000 a month. It doesn't matter the number. When you're spending more money and it's kind of a shot in the dark and it's a guess, it's scary for all of us, right? You've all been there where you're trying desperately to get more people in. Do I go out and flyer? Do I spend more on Facebook? Do I try TikTok? Do I have to cancel Facebook to start TikTok? All of these questions get answered when you start letting the data really start impacting what you're looking at. So let me talk about conversion rate and annual attrition rate. I'm going to talk about how we use that real quick. Is conversion rate, obviously, guys, new members, divided by total leads. So that's really ultimately what you're looking at. How many leads came in? How many people signed up? That tells you what you're converting. Your attrition rate's extremely important because if you have just as many walking out the back door, that's something you got to talk about. It's retention. It's a whole nother topic. And I saw someone post that, and it's a phenomenal topic. We're just digging into that energy fitness ourselves right now. We're understanding the importance of it. But really, the attrition matters in marketing spend and ad spend is the more that's going out, you got to spend more to get more people in to replace it. So then your attrition and conversion numbers really start playing with each other to help identify how much should you or could you spend. If you can increase your conversion percentage and you can decrease your attrition percentage, you need less leads to get more people to walk through the door. Does that make sense? So these data points and these formulas really make a massive impact on what you're looking at and understanding what decisions need to be made. This is a real raw example. So I want to let you know how we track it. And then I want to make sure any questions, write down your questions right now. You probably have a million of them. We don't have to get to them all here. I'll make myself available. Anything for Top Rated Academy, I'll help anybody out afterwards. But this is very simple. We created a Google Sheet and we used these very formulas that we just talked about here. And this is how this pertains into your daily business. We looked at one of our locations and we said, hey, we need to have a $4,250 increase in EFT. Our current new member average every month is X. Here's our total new members. Here's the EFT that gets added. Here's how much that is per member. Here's how much we're losing. So you can see that attrition number. We're talking about retention, right? We were losing a lot of money out the back door. Here's the new EFT that was added. And here's our closing ratio. So what happens is by interacting all of that formula, we could see to hit our EFT increase, we actually needed 0 additional leads within this example because our closing ratio and attrition was within parameters. So now we have, as a business decision, we have an idea. Do we want to put more money into that? We can increase our EFT increase goal. And another example, and I'll give you another example, we actually had to do the math. We did everything like we just talked about here. And we took our new members, divided it by our closing percentage, and we realized to get 572 new members across the company, we needed 1,430 leads. Again, you're taking your closing percentage, you're taking your new member, you're just taking data points, you're applying a formula to it. You're not having to guess anymore. If you know it's costing you $20 per lead, and you know that you've got to get 1,430 leads, then you know what you need to spend to get your goal based on everything that's happening right now congruently in your business. This is where data and formula really starts helping you to understand, and it shows you the path that you need to walk down to make these decisions. So the CAC ratio, we talked about that. Ultimately CAC ratio plus your growth goals is going to determine how much you should be spending. So if you have room to spend more and you need more leads and you need more members and more EFT to grow, then the CAC ratio is what's telling you can do it. Now, if you're at a 2-to-1 or a 1-to-1, you're in an unhealthy amount. So you have to change conversion. You have to change your attrition. You've got to change other factors to make an impact on your business, because spending more money, you're already spending either inefficiently, which is how you would then go in and see, where am I spending it? Which sources are giving me the best leads? We track every single source, every single lead, every day, every location, Energy Fitness. So every day we have a sheet and it updates and it says these 5 locations got this many leads each. Out of those leads, we know exactly what form they filled out on our website. We know exactly what source the customer says they came from. That's more important to me. I don't care what Google or Meta or Adobe tells me. The customer goes, I Googled you. I heard from a friend. I drove by. We know every single source, every single lead, every single form filled out, every button clicked on our site. So at the end of the day, when we're like, we need to grow more, we know that we can afford it and we know where to put it at because we know which sources are converting better. So using data to drive smarter decisions. So I don't have any examples here. I have some I can share with you. Please request after the show. If you're watching this later, request, send an email to Top Rated Academy. They can get a hold of me. We've used Google Looker Studio to create some beautiful automated dashboards that make it simple and easy to see the information. Data is only as good if you can understand it easily and see what it's telling you and make those decisions. If it gets too complicated and it's too much going on, it's going to make it harder for you to make decisions. So making sure you find a way that works best for you. Listen, for me, dashboards works. You know what it works for some people? Google Sheets. There's no cost on either of those, but you can track all your information across one Google Sheet and be like, I spent this much in Google. This is how many leads came in. This is how many appointments showed. This is how many actually bought a membership. This was what my cost per acquisition was, and this was my closing percentage. You can do all that simply in a Google Sheet. Find a medium that works for you that's easy to understand. So go get data to a dashboard, get it to medium that you can understand to look at, and then make sure you're diving deeper into that. You know, what pages bring you higher quality leads? Which forms get clicked more? We've created a Looker Studio that tracks every click on our website. I can tell you which button gets clicked most, which tells me what people I'm driving to the website. And am I driving the right people or the wrong people? And then focus on your success areas. The last thing I'll share, and then I want to open it up for Q&A, is in the areas, the data shows where you're finding the most success in line with your growth goals. You have to have the right team dynamic to get to that point. So I'm going to spend a little more time on this because this is such an important thing. First of all, it can't be just you.
Mm.
Everyone on this call, hear me right now. It can't be you by yourself looking at data and making a decision. Why? The reason is because you yourself will carry your own biases, and data is data. It's clear, but when you're looking at all these points of data, you could still in your own mind say, well, I'm seeing a little trend over here, and you can use the smallest trend, doesn't matter what the other data says, to justify, I still think this is what we should be doing. And there's some data that justifies, and I'm talking this for me. I'm not saying you do this. I do this. I do this when I'm looking at it. I'm like, I take the smallest thing and I'm like, that makes sense to what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to use that, right? So you need to have, first of all, more than one person, right? And then the second phase of the right team is you need to have, there needs to be very clear expectations set up to where you can disagree in a healthy way, right? And you heard me say that early on. We struggle with each other in a very healthy way. So it's myself, it's one of my other partners, and it's our director of marketing and branding. And in that room, there is no hierarchy. There is no like what I say is goes and what you say goes and what I matters. The goal, and it's not perfect, right? It's going to happen something, but the goal is everyone should feel very, very free to speak what they believe is important. And you have to have that dynamic. If it's just going to be 2 people or 6 people or 10 people in a room, but you're still the final say, you're not going to really have the right dynamic to truly get the right decisions out of the data. The last thing I'll say is you need an odd number. And it seems simple, right? Why is that? You're going to disagree. And at the end of the day, what matters is you go with okay, 2 out of the 3 want to do that. Then you do it. And guess what you're doing? The whole point is you measure the data and you see where it's at. If you have an even number and you're split, the whole point here is to make decisions, right? It's to make faster and more accurate decisions. That's what we were looking at the arbiting. So the right team dynamic truly makes an impact when you're measuring the data and you're using these formulas in a day-to-day business. Those 3 things, I'm promising you, and I can dig way deeper into this and give you a lot of examples. Those 3 things will help you to crack this code of getting more people into your space, because you then are identifying, should I spend more money or could I, right? The CAC ratio, understanding your cost per acquisition. Where should I spend it? Your dashboard saying these sources are driving more people who are converting. Your website is seeing these. And then having the right team dynamic that struggles together to say, you know what, we're going to make this decision. This is where we're going as we move forward. The data is only as helpful as the team who analyzes it. And that's what we're looking at here.
Whoa, Jeff, I have a burning question for you, buddy.
All right.
Man, you started by saying I was beginner of this. Data is not my strength. I was all about gut feeling, getting intuition. Let's see what my gut is saying, right? Imagine if the pilot is driving today your plane. I'm like, yeah, I never passed the test. I'll go based on gut feeling. But tell me, Jeff, how did you make decision to go into data with somebody who, like you said, it wasn't your strength?
Yeah.
But you turn around and now you're expert in this. What happens?
It was my third point in today's presentation. It was when it started. It was probably 7 years ago. The company I worked for, and we were struggling. Myself and the CEO were struggling with this, and I was like, "Look, I know this is going to happen." He was like, "How do you know?" I was like, "Because I know." He's like, "Show me how you know." And I was like, I'm just telling you, I'm right. I know this is right. This is what we should be doing." He's like, "Show me." Where?
Mm.
Show me. And then that was when it first entered my head. Well, you have to have something to be able to talk about. But here, that third dynamic, when we have our three people, when we would get in an argument, in a healthy struggle, not a negative one. And at the end of the day, we'd be like, well, how do we know who's right? The only thing to land on is, can we get any information? And that's how it started. The question was, well, I know you feel strong about that, Jeff. Can you get any information that backs that up?
Mm.
And that's what led to me. I was like, well, let's, I don't know. Let me find out. And then when I got information and it backed it up, we made the decision and we moved forward with it. And then the next thing was like, well, I don't know. Do we have anything that shows that? I don't know. Why? I was almost annoyed in the beginning, like, let me figure it out. But then I really got this appreciation and love for, we should be making sure information is guiding us. And it's not the end all be all, but that's how that came about. It was me being pressured to be like, hey, can we back any of this up of what we were saying or thinking?
Wow. And I got to tell you, for you guys who are listening and watching this, either now live or later on as a recording, ask yourself, how good are you? Like, do you know in the middle of the night what's your CAC ratio? What's your lifetime value? Also, can be lifetime value by source. Don't get fooled that referrals are the equal to Google, equal to Facebook leads. You know, you can go even deeper in the understanding. That's why he said, I know where they're coming from, so I can take that segment of people who came from referrals and see their lifetime value later on. Or I can take Facebook leads and understand this. Maybe I'll put more money towards the Google ads because their lifetime value is much bigger than Facebook. But if you don't understand, you're flying blind, guys. And what happens with a plane who's flying blind? You know, if you ask yourself, why do I have challenges? And by the way, this is not only sales, this is retention. Because you can do everything miraculously well in the sales side. But if your attrition is bigger, if your bucket is leaky, and you're leaking out members sooner than you should, then there's a problem. This helps you out. Okay, now, anybody have a question, guys? You can put a question in chat or ask to be unmute. I'll unmute you. Feel free to come up with a question for Jeff before we move on. You can raise the hand as well here, and I'm going to unmute you. Shy people. Feel free, guys, to say it. Now, what I'm going to
see a question in chat. I'll answer one of the questions in chat, Andre. So one of the questions is, how do you balance data-driven decisions with creative marketing strategies? It's a great question. I think the understanding that if you're going to try something new and you want to get creative, then you go into it without this expectation of that's going to be either amazing or it's going to be horrible. It's like, hey, let's get creative. Let's try something new. And then you're going to measure the results. But something that we do here, and we don't do it perfectly, and I don't think anybody does, but we're trying to get better at it, is when we try something creative, we set an expectation ahead of time. What is the result that we're hoping to get out of this creative strategy? So maybe our result is we want to get stickier people to walk through our doors. Or I'll give you a great example, Millie. We wanted to open the floodgates for leads. We were like, what can we do to get creative and just open the floodgates and get as many leads as possible in here? But the ultimate measurement was not just the number of leads, it's how many people we get to walk through our doors and sign up was going to measure whether that was effective. So then we tracked the data over 90 days. We put a form that you had to fill out before you saw our pricing on our website. So you had to fill out a form. We doubled, tripled our leads instantly when we made that change, and every single day tripled the leads, and we were tracking what forms they were coming from. But then we measured, and now we're looking at it, and our conversion percentages dropped significantly. Our number of people walking through the door has dropped. So now we're having to identify, is that a sales cycle, or did we just start getting too many leads in that weren't quality? So the key is get creative, but set something that you're going to let the determining factor be, and then measure it for a period of time. Guys, do not do 30 days, 90 days to 100 to 180 days, 3 months, 6 months. Do it for a period of time. And then at the end, you get together, you pull the data, and you sit down and did that creative strategy work or not?
I love that, Jeff. And there's a question from Ben. How do you decide when to hand off data decision?
Yeah, listen, I think that that's part of the team, right? Having the
Mm,
right team in the room and understanding everyone has an expertise in that field and in that room. So like when we look at it and say, you know what, we've got to be able to get the data information in here and we need to let that let that drive it. In the moment though, you push off and you go, it's like, all right, how do we hand this off and how do we translate it? And again, it starts with understanding what did we want to measure first. You have to understand that. Then you got to understand what was the actual measurements at the end. And then you have to understand getting the right person that wants to be able to create a solution. So handing off data, the most
mm,
important thing on that is getting someone who wants to find a solution, not someone who wants to be the
mm.
smartest person in the room, not someone who wants to be the most creative, not someone who it's like I want to do something that works. And if you get that person's mindset, you want to have variety. You want to have someone that's a skeptic. You want to have an optimist in there. You want to have a realist in there. Those three dynamics help you to understand and make the best decisions, which is why you got to have a team doing it.
I love the guys. Listen, we have a job to do here. Everybody scan the QR code or click on the link that my team will post. Rate Jeff Sanders. And for you guys who rate it as well, we'll be sending you these slides and this recording. This is like a little trade-off. Why we're doing
Hey,
this? Because we want to make sure.
maybe someone who rates Andre, I give them the 60 slide deck I have that has a lot more formulas and
Oh,
information. I don't know. I'm just if you're interested, I won't know unless you rate it. Maybe I can
guys,
follow up
and
and
I
start
gotta give
out.
you insights. That slide deck have his literally screenshots of his looker. Is that the slide you're talking about?
Yes, it
The
has my
one that
Looker
has
Studio
his data,
dashboards.
his slides, his scorecard numbers, and how he used Looker to present that data. Damn, that's a good one, Jeff. Love that. Okay, guys, make sure you scan the code on your phone or click on the link. It's literally two questions, rate and give a feedback, and that's it. And while you're doing this, I gotta tell you that Platinum Pro team in Referrizer is helping businesses who are struggling with the time to do a bunch of these things. We offer, as a Platinum team, for you guys, strategy thinking session. This is our contribution. This is our way to say, okay, let me help you with the planning. Do you know that many business owners fail just because they don't have a time to plan? And if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Just knowing all the events that are coming ahead of you and being proactive, why not to take advantage? So only for 5 people we can afford to do this, but giving you out 12-month strategy, one-on-one consulting coaching with a Platinum team, how to promote your business so you are proactive, not reactive. So there's a link in the chat as well, but there's a scan QR code. Take advantage of this, guys. This is us giving you so you can save the time. And only for you guys who are watching this and ranking. Now, let's move on. Second speaker. Oh my God. Guys, first of all, Jeff, I want to tell you thank you for incredible content today. Last time I heard you on the conference, I took so much notes, I took screenshots, I took phone pictures. I hope you guys did the same thing here. Thank you for being here today and really sharing your highlights.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. As we're moving on, guys, the second speaker we have for you is one and only Ben Ludwig. I know Ben for a while, and every time I talk to Ben, I learn something new. He is just abundance of the knowledge, guys. He is a resource. What I would ask you to do is open a book or take a screenshots or start writing notes because you're about to learn something cool. How to develop top performing sales teams. Whoa, while scaling across multiple brands. Ben Ludwig is an incredible fitness industry expert in leadership, sales, and strategy, having trained fitness professionals in over 60 countries, guys. Ben is also a collaborative author of the best-selling book, Real Talk with Real Businesses Pros, and contributes regularly in leading fitness business publications. So good to have you here, Ben. Floor is yours. I'm giving you quickly mouse control so you can take over the floor.
Let's roll. Okay, first of all, I got a bone to pick with the Referrizer crew. They told me I wasn't going to have to go after Jeff. How am I supposed to follow up that presentation? Great takeaways, dropping knowledge bombs, making a complex and gray topic often feel very clear. So I just want to say thank you to Jeff for being here. And Jeff, man, great job with the content. We're gonna have a little bit of crossover in some of the things that we talk about because of how impactful what you said was. So man, thank you so much.
Of course, man. Glad to be here. Excited to see what you're saying. I'm excited about the sales stuff.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. All right. So my agenda is much simpler. I want to make sure you don't make all the stupid mistakes that I did. So first of all, I just want you to take a journey with me. I want you to think about the situation that I'm going to explain to you. So I had a realization 9 years ago. And in this realization, I was on my way home from one of my gym locations. It was 9 p.m. I hadn't eaten dinner yet. I had my 1-year-old at home. I had 4 texts from my wife saying, "Hey, when are you going to be here?" I'm looking at the cameras and seeing a sales guy working out at one of my locations, calling the manager, telling him he needs to contact his salesperson and tell him to get back on the texting. I'm following up with all my managers, trying to get them to send their numbers in. I'm going, man, this is insane. And in my head, I'm thinking about how far behind we are on our numbers and how we're going to go backwards if we don't just really work so hard because it's towards the end of the month. I've got my first vacation planned coming up in the last 3 years because I've been so busy trying to open up a bunch of new gyms. And then I get a text message from one of my managers saying, "Hey, I'm quitting and I'm not coming back tomorrow. Sorry, I can't give you notice." I mean, I'm just going, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I want you to think about that scenario, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you been there before? Maybe some of you on this call are going, "Yeah, that was me yesterday." I mean, this is crazy. I know there's so many of you on this call that maybe some of you are in that position now to where you're going, "Man, I don't even know how to get my own location to really flourish without me." Or maybe there's other of you that are going, "Man, I'm trying to scale. I'm trying to open up more locations, but I'm not sure I can do that because there's only one of me." Either way, whatever it is, I want you to know that we're going to talk about how to be able to get rid of what we call the fog, to get you out of this cycle, this endless cycle of, I don't know where to go. I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to grow this business, or I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of this business because it's not going to function how it should unless I'm here 24/7. F, fragmented processes. This is what happens when you look at your business from a 30,000-foot view, not you in it performing it every single day. When you take a step back and really process and look at everything that's happening in your business, you realize that there's holes in your processes. You realize that things don't flow together. You realize that things don't happen unless you do them because you're the only one that's inside of your own head. You're the only one that thinks like you. Or overwhelmed teams. Your teams are in no different position than you are. They're inside of their location, stressed and overwhelmed, wondering how they're going to make up the difference of the numbers. There's a lot of guesswork going on. There's a lot of thoughts that I don't really know how I'm going to do this. I can't really find a great team. I'm not sure how to be able to manage these guys. There's turnover. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. And then there's guesswork over guidance. There's managers that are trying to guess what's going to work. They're trying to figure out how to patch some broken marketing. They're trying to figure out how to keep a customer that's upset happy. They don't really know what to do. We're going to get rid of that. You see, in our businesses, we weren't failing because of people. We were failing because of the fog. And so we're going to create some clarity behind that today. That's my goal. So a little bit about me. Yeah, I've been in the fitness industry for a very long time. I've consulted brands across the globe. I've done a lot of speaking engagements. I've done a lot of trainings. I've also been published quite a bit across the fitness industry. If you look on the bottom left, that's my beautiful family. I have my wife of 13 years and my 3 daughters, 10-year-old, my 4-year-old, and my 1-year-old. And then we actually have a 4th baby on the way. So pray for me as I look at what doing business and growing my family at the same time looks like. I've done a lot of speaking engagements, of course, with, as you see in the middle picture, that was me creating a bunch of content for F45 Global Headquarters. And then I was also a collaborative author of the book, Real Talk with Real Business Pros. I actually talk in that book a lot about sales process. So if you're interested in checking that out, it's on Amazon. Be sure to look it up. So next thing, before we get into the content, I want to take a second here and I want you to help me out. So on a scale from 1 to 10, I want you to go ahead and pop in the chat how confident you are in growing your business. What does that look like for you? 0 being, I have no clue where to start or what to do. 10 being, Ben, you shouldn't be doing this talk. I should be doing this talk. So 0 to 10, put it in the comments, what you think. While I'm waiting on you guys to put in your confidence level in the comments, I want to tell you a quick story. So I was actually teaching for F45 headquarters. This was quite a few years ago. And I was on my way flying into Austin, and there was a conference going on at the same time that I was speaking for F45. And so the travel agency had to put me in a different hotel. Well, I left the first day speaking to leave my current hotel to go to the other hotel. I hop in the Uber. And the Uber driver says, he's a very heavy accent. He said, "Mr. Ben." I said, "Yeah, that's me." He said, you go, before we leave, you go from hotel to hotel?" I said, "Yeah, no, there's a conference here at this hotel. And so, I'm having to stay down the road." He goes, "Wait, you speak at this hotel, but they not make room for you. You must not be very good." Oh, I was like, oh man, this guy got me. This guy got me good. I gave him the biggest tip I've ever given an Uber driver. Let me tell you, the reason why is because, man, he made me laugh. But the point of the story is, look, you're not here to listen to me. You're here because you want to learn how to grow your business. I'm looking at the numbers. I see some middle of the road numbers, 5, 6, 7, a lot of 5s, a couple 7s. So here's the thing. How do we get you from where you're at to a 10? How do we get you from a 5 to a 10? How do we get you from a 6 to a 10? The idea behind this is I want to discuss an acronym with you. It's called growth. So we're going to go through those letters, GROWTH. I like acronyms and I like dad jokes because they're easy to remember and they're usually funny. So real quick, my dad joke of the day is, what style of computer has the best voice? Adele. You get it? Yeah. No. Okay. I see a couple face palms. Oh man. All right. Let's get into the content. Okay. So first things first, the G is goals with clarity. So Jeff did a phenomenal job of talking about how to work backwards to be able to set goals for your business. And I want to really double down on the opposite side of that. So once you have that data, what do you do with that? And I'm going to hit on what it means to make sure that you put the right people in the right seats. Now, if you're going to write something down, here's what I want you to write down. You've got to be able to choose your team and put them in the right seats based off of your values, your business's values. So I want you to do me a favor here. If your business has values, do me a favor and pop them in the chat for me. While you're doing that, here's what I want to talk about. The businesses that I've started and grown into multiple brands, what we have done in those businesses is we have made sure that we start with mission, vision, and values. When we do that, we know exactly what we're looking for in our staff. And so if I go to the grocery store, that's what I'm looking for. If I go out to eat, that's what I'm looking for. When I'm on the workout floor, that's what I'm looking for. My VP of sales, my top performing salesperson, my social media person, most of the people that we ended up growing with in diversifying brands were starting as members or starting as coaches. A lot of our members, we developed a system to be able to help get members certified. We would hand select the members that we were going to put into that program. We would get them certified to become part-time coaches. And a lot of them actually ended up working their way up the ladder. You know why? Because we chose those people based on our values. When you do that, what happens is you now have a group of people that you know match what you're looking for because you hand selected them. Okay. So what I want to dig into here is making sure that you're not choosing people just based on a resume or charisma. You're also, second thing is you're making sure that every team member knows what they're aiming for and why it matters. Any Dave Ramsey fans in here? Everybody has a number. That's what he always says in his business, right? Every person understands exactly what it is that they're looking to accomplish and how it ties into the ultimate goal. What this does is this allows you to be able to choose people and work with them to make sure that they grow. Now, here's what I want to be honest with you about, okay? We messed up a lot, okay? We chose the wrong people. We tried promoting people too soon. We hired contractors and it didn't really work out. And that's okay. You see, when you're scaling a business or when you're growing a business, one of the things you got to be able to do is understand how to be able to fail fast. You got to be okay with making mistakes, and you got to be okay with letting your team do the same. I call it failing forward, allowing your team to be able to learn from their mistakes. Okay. This is the deal. This is the saying that I want you to lean into here. We stopped trying to find sales stars and started building coaches who could sell with conviction. That's when we saw our business start to scale, is when we really started leaning into our people. R, the second letter of our acronym here, is replicatable systems. So let me ask you guys another question here. So how many of you are notorious? Now, this is not a bad thing, okay? So don't get offended here. How many of you are notorious for walking in and maybe working with your salespeople on overcoming an objection? Okay, John, I gotta go home and talk to my wife. Go. What do you say? You know, or maybe even working math, you know, with your team to make sure they understand how many phone calls they need to make today or how many clients they need to see to be able to make the amount of money that they want. Again, those are not bad things, but you see, I did that for the majority of the beginning of my career. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, Ben, that's just good coaching. Like, why is that a problem? Well, here's the thing. If they only understand numbers and psychology, then they're not leaning into a system. And so what I had to learn was how to be able to train systems. And so instead, my new audits, once I started learning what's the power of systems, what I did was instead of trying to get a salesperson to overcome an objection, I would walk up to the salesperson and say, hey, John, why don't you walk me through the new guest process? Why don't you show me how you present pricing? Okay, I didn't come in for any classes last week. Give me a call and show me how you would walk me through that coaching script. You see, I'm leaning into the systems. I was making sure that the team members were showing me that they knew the process, not just that they were good closers, not just that they knew math, right? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to help them understand what it meant to really lean into that system. Because again, this is here's another thing I want you to write. Here's another thing I want you to write down. If your system isn't written down, it's not a process, it's a preference. I'm going to say that one more time so you can write it down. If it's not written down, it's not a process, it's a preference. Okay. And when you coach these processes, here's what I want you to understand about these processes. Coaching on how to be able to practice those processes. So I believe this was the first time that I was on the Fitness Business Podcast, but I've got a screenshot down there called The Power and Place of Role Play. If you just look up The Power and Place of Role Play on Google, you'll find this episode of the Fitness Business Podcast. And what I talk about is how powerful it is to be able to role play not just sales scenarios, but all different kinds of scenarios. So in the chat, again, be honest with me, write how often you role play. And while you're doing that, I want to give some examples. So when I talk about role play in this podcast, what I talk about is how to be able to teach your staff how to do a proper performance review, how to teach your staff how to do write-ups, how to teach your staff how to do coaching calls, teaching your staff how to have accountability meetings, teaching your staff how to have angry customer interactions. Here's another, okay, going back to the G, right? Teaching your staff how to interview well. That is a skill. That is not just something that people inherently come with. There's a system behind that if you develop that inside of your business. You've got to make sure that you can teach people how to do your system. Here's another write down quote, okay? If someone else can't train your system, you're not going to grow. If you're the only person that can train your system, you will not grow. You've got to be able to have a system that's so easy to understand, someone else can do it. Okay, let's keep moving. Ownership mindset is the O. All right. Now, here's the thing about ownership mindset is I know that I care so much about my business that I'm going to do whatever I can to make it successful. So I will always be looking for great people, but you've got to find people that are always looking for great people. You're never done looking for great people. And the thing about this is I'm not just talking about on Career Plug or Indeed, you see? And I'm sure what you're probably thinking is, well, Ben, I don't really have a business that lines up with what you said. You know, I can't just grab members and certify them and do this. My business is different. That's okay. You see, because here's what I want you to understand is wherever your clients go, you want to find staff members that speak their language. Okay. Here's another thing I want you to write down. Clients don't care how cool your programming is. They want a coach that speaks their language. They want someone that understands them. They want someone that feels their pain. They want someone that can walk in their shoes and actually understands what they're dealing with. It doesn't matter if you have the coolest equipment or if you have the best programming. That was one of the things I love about our multi-brand business is our fitness business was F45. All the workouts were pre-programmed. All we had to do was teach our staff how to progress and regress. That was it. And then we had expectations on what the touch points should look like and how the different touch points should happen across the class, how many touch points each member should get, and what each touch point should be. We systemized it. We made it easy to understand for the coach. So all we had to do was find good people. That was it. And then manage the process. Okay. So if you're obsessed with bringing in the right people, you're showing your staff what it means to have the ownership mindset, and you're allowing your leaders to present to you their expectations. That's where you can then allow them to lead. I want to give you a quick story here. So a few years back, whenever we were scaling our multi-unit brand with our company, our LLC called Traction, we purchased a gym. And this gym had a membership model that was all over the place. We had people paying crazy low amounts. We had people that were on all kinds of crazy deals. and we needed to systemize it. And so we decided we were going to put in a rate that made sense as far as ramping up low rates and then getting people to meet the exact number that we needed for the business to survive. And so we knew it was best for the business. The only way this is going to work is if we get the average rate of membership to this number. And so here's how we're going to do it. And we rolled it out. And guess what happened? We got all kinds of flack for it. We did not do it well. It was not done properly. We should have talked to the staff. We should have set up meetings with every staff member. We should have set them down and talked them through what we were doing and talked to the member base and given them plenty of notice. We didn't do that. We thought, you know what, look, if people leave, they leave. Well, we're going to sign new members anyway because we were very confident in our sales process. We just did it too fast. We made a mistake. And so what we did was I ended up flying into the city where that gym was. I met with the entire staff, and as the chief operating officer of the company, I stood in front of this whole group of trainers that were taking all the flack, because I wasn't taking the flack, they were. I stood in front of this whole group and I said, all right, everybody, let me have it. What's going on? I let them talk and I said, I'm so sorry. This was my fault. I made this decision to do this too fast. I won't make that same mistake again. I promise you that. If you stick by me, I promise you we're going to make this right. Now, what are the next steps? And that was how I showed them the ownership mindset, which in return, man, we got some buy-in from those team members. There was sales stars that came out of that location that I would have never guessed would ever even want to sell a membership ever, because they believed in us as an ownership group. Show them what it means to have an ownership mindset, and you will have a winning culture. Okay. Let's talk about winning culture. What does this mean? So, oh, look, man, Ben, my team loves working for me. Oh, that's great. Okay, good. But are they stagnant? Have they grown in their role? If you look back at the last 12 months of your people working for you, if some of them have been there that long, then what does that look like? Have they grown in their professional abilities? Are they moving towards their personal goals? Okay. What you have to do is you have to be able to make sure that you are setting up a culture that's not just fun. Like, yes, that's great that your people love working for you, but are they winning? And then you have to, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have to have a culture that's winning, but not winning at all costs where you're running people off. You've got to find that balance of making it fun to win. So you're going to celebrate process wins, not just final outcomes. Okay. So I know this is kind of a topic where you're going, well, Ben, like celebrating process wins, what do I do? Like, hey, Andre, good job picking up the phone today. I mean, I don't know, like, what does that look like? Well, here's the thing. Process wins can be 100% of intake forms filled out. Process wins can be, my speed to lead last month was 4 minutes. Process wins can be 90% of our new clients were booked out for the next 2 weeks. Process wins can be, my average client visited my location 14 times last month. Those are process wins. You see, what those do is those allow you to be able to not just look at an outcome and say, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. This is what I'm going to do. Go. Okay. Because again, sometimes you're going to have staff members that maybe get into that mode of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to hit a call volume number. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get a visit volume. Well, are those even the right clients coming in the door? You've got to make sure that you're following through on making sure you're giving people the right process wins to celebrate them. So that's what they see as the ultimate win. This is how you can create those discussion bridges to build clarity, because what that does is that allows your team to know exactly how what they're doing affects the long-term goals of the business. I also wrote an article here recently called Building Team Culture, 4 Key Strategies for Community Rec Magazine. So be sure to check that one out. I go a little deeper into what that looks like to celebrate those wins. Team development. You always need to be asking questions all the time. Here's the thing. Anytime there's a deviation in a process, this is one I need you to write down, okay? Anytime there's a deviation in a process, don't correct, coach. You see, what this does is this allows you to be able to give them some insight as to why. If they don't understand why they're doing something and they're just doing it because you told them to, it's only going to last until you leave. This is where there's a breakdown in process or correction versus coaching. Coaching is helping you understand why, so you want to do it. Correction is making sure you do it my way. Okay. Here's the second thing I want you to understand about this is role play is your best friend. We've already talked about that, but also mentorship is a huge part of what helps your staff grow with you, what helps your staff take more ownership. You see, anytime you're having one-on-one meetings, this is an opportunity for you to invite your top session service trainer to the team meeting so you can recognize them and say, hey, Jeff, man, you were the top session service trainer last month. You absolutely crushed it. Can you talk to our management staff about your best practices for retention? Can you tell us what you did last month? Because you crushed it. When you're having a one-on-one with your manager, you can invite the team member that's great with social media to help give some tips on what we should do for marketing, what we can do, what are they seeing with new trends? Jeff said it earlier. I've got people on my team that are experts in certain areas. Why wouldn't I use that expertise? This allows them to be able to potentially see some growth opportunities within your business, but also to show their expertise. They're interviewing without even realizing it. They're showing you their skill set, and you're inviting them to the table, asking them questions to see where they're at, to see if you can develop them into that next level, right? So don't be afraid to create those mentorship opportunities. And here's another thing. This is going to be a little bit taboo. Don't be afraid to create mentorship opportunities outside of your organization. Oh man, Ben, I don't know about that. What if they end up leaving, or what if they end up? Here's my experience. Anytime I've allowed one of my staff members to meet with somebody else because they're better at something than me, they've trusted me more. Don't be afraid to allow your team to grow to the point to where they can leave, because if you've treated them well, they won't want to leave. I did an article with Boutique Fitness Solutions called Building Trust with Your Team. So be sure to check that one out. I go into those points a little deeper. Okay. Last, habitual execution. Man, Jeff beat me to the dang punch. So I've got my scorecard up here as well. Jeff's was way cleaner. But here's the last thing I want to talk about on how to be able to scale. Okay. Habitual execution is what allows you to be able to make sure that every time there's deviation, every time there's a KPI that isn't necessarily met, you're able to address it and you're able to move the needle more quickly. Oh, what's happening here? There we go.
My bad.
All good. I'm back. So build rhythms, daily huddles, weekly reviews, monthly strategy sessions, quarterly reviews, and annual planning. I know I'm getting close to time, so I'm not going to go into detail on those, but I am going to give a tool at the end of this on how to be able to set these up. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Here's what I want you to understand about this. Whenever you have these meetings, or maybe you're the type of person that's on this call and you're going, oh, Ben, look, I know that all sounds great, but I don't have time to add more meetings to my agenda. Okay. I know there's a lot of you that are probably thinking that. Well, here's what I have for you. If you don't have time for meetings to strategize your business, you don't have the capacity to grow. It's not going to happen unless you work backwards and set the time to be able to meet with your team to give them what they need to succeed. You've got to be willing to sacrifice your time and your energy and your effort and your ego, because I'm sure you can probably do it better and faster. But unless you're handing that off to your team, you're not going to grow. So you've got to set that cadence of accountability and stick to it. Don't miss those meetings. Reinforce the habitual aspects of what you're asking them to do. That way, when you're in those one-on-one meetings, you can address it quickly. I've got something called the 72-hour rule, where if a team member misses a KPI for 3 days in a row, we're going to schedule a specific meeting to talk about what's going on. Here's why that's impactful. Number one is it allows me to make sure that I can address something before I create resentment towards you. Be honest. Have there been times that you've had team members that you let them go for too long as an underperformer, and then you start to resent that person? Be honest. In those times, if you would have just spent 15 minutes on day 3 and said, hey, Andre, is everything okay at home? What's going on, man? This is the 3rd day in a row that you've missed your call volume. I want to make sure you're okay. What that does is that shows your employees you care. That shows your employees that lack of production is not okay. That shows your employees you're here to support them and make sure they're successful no matter what. And guess what's going to happen when you do that? They might leave. Here's why I say that. Because the right people are going to appreciate that. The wrong people are going to see that as micromanagement. Let me say it one more time. The right people are going to see that as partnership, as help. The wrong people are going to see that as micromanagement, and they're going to leave, and that's okay. Right? Encourage openness while maintaining accountability. So how do we bring this all together? Because as we discussed, we did this across multiple brands. Well, you grow through unification. The acronym here that I'm going to use is called UNITE. Unify your training. So standardize every system that can be standardized. Customer experience is customer experience. Just because the verbiage might be a little different in different brands doesn't mean that I shouldn't call that person to check on them to see how they're doing if they didn't come in last week. Numbers are shared transparently. Everybody knows what success looks like across our brands. Now, here's an important aspect: percentages, not necessarily just numbers. Because one of my businesses, 150 guests may be low, whereas another one of my businesses, 30 guests might be high. And so percentages are where we create clarity. Number 3, T, tailored operations per brand. This is where we can create adoption without sacrificing performance. And what this does, what tailored operations does, is it allows us to take macro and micro. We keep macro the same across our brands, and we tailor based on micro. Okay. And then the E is expand leadership support. This is where you need to centralize coaching, but decentralize ownership. Allow your managers of your locations across brands to manage. They present to you quarterly goals. They present to you how they did last month. They present to you in the weekly one-on-one how they landed last week in their KPIs and what they're going to do to fix it. Now, this takes time, guys. And so what you've got to do is you've got to be able to have that vision in your mind of how you're going to get there, and then work your way backwards to coach them on how to do that. And keep it simple. Simple scales, fancy fails. All right. So, man, I'm so thankful to be able to spend the time with you guys. One last quote that I want to give you is: you don't need 10 brands to build a great sales team, but if you can build one rock star sales team across 10 brands, then you can build anywhere. Anywhere. You can do whatever you want with one rock star sales team if you can just do that across brands. So, guys, very, very thankful to be able to spend some time with you today. A couple quick things. I'm not as a big timer as Jeff is. One of these days, I'm going to be as cool as Jeff, but I can't tie my giveaways to you giving me a good review yet. So until then, I'm giving all my stuff away for free. So I've got an interactive interview guide. I've got a goal setting tool for managers. I've got a role play tool and a 12-month seasonal calendar. And then I've got a scaling tool, step by step, that talks through how to be able to create your mission, vision, values, how to be able to put it into action, how to be able to choose the right team members. So it's a little bit of an overview, but it gives you the idea of how we scaled our businesses. So these 4 takeaways are all free. So thank you guys.
Boom! Guys, did you hear this? Okay, questions. While you guys are typing questions, be a quick one on the chat, or raise the hand and we'll unmute you. Ben, I do have a burning question.
What you got, Andre?
I think Steve Jobs said, it's not success about the ability to hire, but inability to fire people. Like failing to fire. What advice would you say to somebody who is dragging that decision for a long time? They build a relationship, they know this person is not performing, they just can't do it because it's okay, it's good enough, it's a headache to replace them.
Yep.
What to do?
Yeah. Andre, I know in my career, there have been many times that I have hesitated to fire people because in my mind, I'm like, well, yeah, they're not performing, but at least there's somebody there making calls. At least there's somebody overseeing that team, so it doesn't have to be me. At least there's somebody that I can pass off some of the responsibility to. Like, at least it's somebody. I'm sure a lot of people are in that position to where if you're struggling to fire somebody, that's probably why, because you don't want to do it yourself. But here's what I can tell you. There's 2 aspects that I'll give you there. The first aspect is every time I've just done it and just fired the person, it's like a weight off my chest.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. My palate is cleansed. Let's start over. Let's do this the right way. And then the second thing is that's forced me to action. And so I've had to go into urgency mode to be able to make sure that I hired the right person. So if you're struggling to do it, man, Nike said it, just do it.
That's right. Just do it, because probably they don't enjoy. If somebody's doing half-ass job or dragging, they're not enjoying the position they are. Exactly. Honestly, I spoke with my clients, and when they let people go, first I went to those employees and asked, like, what are you guys doing? I was like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. Finally, I can go look. They didn't want to quit because they feel the same. Like, I don't want to leave you hanging, but I'll perform as minimum just because, I don't know, I kind of doing this for you. And they think they're doing you a favor by not quitting because they don't want you to be left behind. Sometimes It's a win-win. Think about it.
Yeah. You're also, Andre, not only are you putting yourself in a bad position by holding on to this person, but you're also keeping that person from the position that they should go to. And so you're holding back their career and yours. And so by letting that person go, yes, there's going to be a short-term pain, but in the long term, it's going to be so worth it.
Guys, I want to say thank you on all of your behalf to Ben one and only, and we all have a job to do. Scan the QR code, please, team. Put a chat in the chat, link for rating while you guys are doing this. All those recordings, slides, plus crazy additional assets you guys will get. You get into brain of Ben Ludwig now. And I'm not forcing to do a good grades, just vote because we want to get feedback. Everybody needs to grow. Everybody needs to learn. So it's your opportunity to say thank you, Ben, for your time today, for having this incredible preparation presentation for all of you who are watching this live or recording. So just scan this, regardless, even if you're watching it later as a recording. Do it yourself, do everybody a favor and just scan the QR code or if you're live, click on the link that was just shared. Take it 10 seconds. It's super simple. 2 questions. Just submit a feedback, and we're going to go on. Ben, I got to say, you're a jam, buddy. Damn, your energy is contagious, man. Your energy, your knowledge. There's so much here about everything you are sharing, and these are all gold nuggets for everybody. Guys, if you are not doing these things, this is the knowledge that comes from the ownership of the studio to managing big brands with thousands of locations. It's universal rule. You gotta put yourself into action, and these are the most actionable steps. So, love that, Ben. You're incredible speaker and very knowledgeable expert in the industry. For you guys, I want to add as well. Through conversions, how many of you are running ads? How many of you are not happy with your ads and you don't even know what's wrong with your ads? People are running ads, trusting agency, or doing themselves without knowing how to audit them. So True Conversions is doing something incredible, guys. It's gonna help you audit, review at no cost what's wrong with your funnel. How cool is that? There's an 11-point checklist that's gonna scan everything from the visuals from the funnel to the conversion, to the sense of urgency, through lead capture, from the copywriting. There's a whole process all the way to the landing pages and follow up. You want to know how your ads are working and what can be done better. Sometimes just one little insight can change the game for your ads and performance forever. Scan the QR code, click on the link, and get these free insights. Only 5, guys. We can do only 5, and just take advantage of this. Then you can take that report to go to your agency and say, hey, guys, this is what you need to fix. I finally find out. Fix this. Or you can give us a chance, and we can help you with that. Now, next step, we're wrapping up with a final talk about ways to get unlimited free traffic. I love it, free traffic, guys. I love free leads. I love free membership. I love free stuff and how to hack. How does the Google think today? So my name is Andre Cvijovic. I'm a CEO and founder of Referrizer. My passion is about helping business owners get most members at the minimum cost. And in my journey to find it out, I was always looking how the heck some brands are growing faster than others. What's happening in the industry? How some brands are doing incredible job of growing without ever running any ads. And then you will find a story behind Craig, who got 172 reviews, become second most rated business in the whole F45 chain of 2,000 locations with 558 reviews. You'll find how Yoga Joint got 1,200 Google reviews and absolutely annihilated all competition. And guess what? Try searching for their ads online. You're not going to find them. And how Tiger Schulman is killing it on the first page of Google. I thought it's even impossible to put the same domain name 3 times. You Google for their keywords like kids karate in the Bay Ridge, they took 50% of real estate on Google. Think about that. Who's up for a treat? So, I want to tell you, competition is not fair. Unfortunately, in Olympic Games, the first person gets a gold, fastest person in the world. Second person gets silver, third person gets the bronze. Question for you, put it in chat, answer for me. What does the 4th fastest person in the world get? Somebody who might be half a second behind the winner. What do they get? It's unfortunately nothing, right? It's sad. You can train for the whole life. Be fourth one. What does the gold winner get? Becomes a hero of the country. The president of the country comes in person, gives them a medal. It's honor. It's unforgettable. They are heroes. So in a Google is the same thing. The first person gets all the rewards. Second person gets some satisfactory. But while the fourth person, there's no fourth person. Google Map listing has 3 listings only. And that's where all the game is happening. You can have 30, 40 businesses competing. And only 3 will get featured. So I want to show you that for Google, you are not a customer. Sorry to say, guys. Your business is a product of Google. If they're a retail store, you're their little packaged product. You're milk on the shelf. Their customer is a customer going on Google and typing the search query, gym near me, or spa near me, or business near me. The customer is the end user. And if you're a product, now Google, as the biggest retail, online retail, for the products / listings about it, have to decide how the heck will I promote your or one over another. Have you ever thought that you're a product? Have you ever thought that Google have to make algorithm how to position? So I want to teach you something that can be so easy to do it, because many of you and many businesses don't even pay attention for that. It's like Apple is so healthy and there's no advertising for it. Google is free to listing. They don't charge you for these listings. But that's how they make money. So how do you know? They pretty much use the human principle. We as a humans have half-second rule. Your brain, your subconscious will evaluate person in a half a second the moment you see them. They will make assumptions about your education level, your income level, your status in a company, your title, your business, what you do. Everything is in half-second decision. For business, position on Google is how you dress up. Like Google will understand what you are telling about yourself. If you're dressed up in a business suit versus sport clothing, immediate categorization. So Google My Business listing is your description. It's your suit. It's how you put your clothes on. It's a first assumption that Google gonna see. And then it's also gonna be how do you behave? Do you go in a suit and now dribble the ball on the sport court? It's like, ooh, that's conflict, right? Or do you go in a sport gym and go speak at the business conference? Ooh, that's conflict. So it has to be consistency. It has to be something that say, hey, I'm dressed up for the business, I'm dressed up for the gym, but if you experience me, not just look at me, I get a match. And that's your website. That's immediately you're going deeper. And does your website talks about this? And then they'll look bounce rate. Maybe you look like a business person. I come to talk to you and immediately find out you're full of crap. Sorry for my French. Right? And I'll turn around. If Google is looking users coming to you and turning back, they says, no, you're not what you're saying you are. It's called bounce rate. How long does the people interact with you? It's about content and keywords and performance. It all has to match, guys. And then also, think about this. Google will look who do you hang out with. Are you the business guy hanging out with the business guy? Now imagine this. You dress up in a business suit. You have an expensive watch, nice shoes, and then you're surrounded with the narco drug dealers with the guns, black cars, right? Immediately your brain says, no, this is some kind of dressed up narco dealer, right? It's like that community of the people around you will determine who you are, regardless how you put you are. Google is the same way. If your website is connected to the backlinks, if other websites are linking to you as a spam content or some kind of crappy content that's not relevant to fitness, if you're a fitness business, you're in trouble. That's why wrong SEO techniques can hurt you more. Even if the Forbes, very credible resource, talks about spam or XXX websites, and then they link you, then it's a wrong link. It has to match. You gotta connect with the most relevant, highly credible website. That's called backlinks in the world of SEO. I hope you guys are catching up on this. And then social proof. Listen, you can be greatest restaurant in the area. You can say I'm a Michelin 3-star restaurant, but if it's empty, right, on a Friday night, they'll say something is wrong here. Social proof is what Google do to say, okay, I made assumption, I verify backlinks, I see what you're doing, I check everything, but I want to see what everybody else is saying. And that's the importance of reviews. They will ask people. The reason why they ask for reviews is so they understand your business. Every retail store, online, Amazon, eBay is built on reviews. Huge impact. And then product returns. How does the Google know if people don't like it? Is check those 1-star ratings. Amazon, you send Amazon, return that to Amazon. You know how bad impact that makes on a bad business? If they have more returns than competition, they'll be delisted from Amazon. If people rate you 1 star, they'll be delisting you from the top 3. And then customer service. Customer service says, okay, you're doing the business. I went that far. Is how quickly you are able to respond to people. And it's your culture. If you never respond on your Google reviews, by the way, they'll say, who knows what else you don't respond to? You have complaints you don't respond to. You have good high fives you don't respond to. So quality and efficiency and speed of replying those reviews, telling Google how good you are. Guys, you want to win this game of Olympic game of beating everybody on Google? This is the 6 steps you need to do. Screenshot this or rate this speaker later on, you'll get the presentation. How simple is that? Right? Now, who wins? The guy who with more reviews, more recent reviews, and better ranking. Wins every time. If the two businesses if the 2 restaurants are in the same plaza, right? One is empty, one is full. You are more likely to go to the full one and even wait a couple minutes to get there. Now, here's really cool stuff that opened my eyes. We did a scoring system. We came to this conclusion through research. We went and understand 4 key elements that create a reputation score. It's a scoring system done by Top Rated Academy. We invest a significant amount of work to do this. First, we get pointing. Who is the best? We are replicating Google, reverse engineering Google algorithm and trying to find how Google put the number on that, their internal number. And we says, okay, based on worst, best businesses in all categories. In categories, we rank it, how many reviews you have, what's the social proof, what's the Google rating, from 1 to 5, what's the number of reviews you are getting per month, speed of reviews, right? If the business is that, they're like, okay, nobody's coming here. And also responding to reviews. Those 4 elements. And you have to be good in all 4. You can't just get 3 out of 4, right? This is mind-blowing for me. I spent so much time on this and I'll explain. We did over 300 brands. In this list, we put about 80. Understanding each and every location in the search ranking, in the search query, in the specific territory, to understand what is going on, and then took average numbers and then took for every one of these data points. So there's a franchise here. There's like 80 we put just in this list. And then what's the score we created based on our reading of data for that brand? And then we understood, does this score relevant to the speed and growth of the business and also to their budget on Facebook? Does the best scored businesses spend money or they don't have to? Are they gold medalists? So this is a gold medalist ranking, guys, in their areas. And we combined what's the Google score, what's the review count, what's the best review percentages, how many reviews they got in the last 30 days, and how well they're responding on reviews fast. And the top of the list is to have all greens. If you scroll down on the bottom list, you get all the reds. Interestingly enough, right? So what happens here, we find out crazy stuff. Number 1, who come in on the list is Body Alive Fitness. Guys, 1,092 5-star reviews. That's mind-bending. You don't even know it can be this much. And by the way, this is not big box gym. This is a gym with 300 members, 400 members. You search for fitness in Crestfield Hills, they're number 1, right? Like they're beating LA Fitness. They're 10 times, they have 40,000 members probably. Membership, they're beating them on that keyword. Then you have O2 Fitness. A little bit overlapping on my slide. With 570 reviews, still number 1. And my favorite, Yoga Joint. I know the Bernie, the owner, I don't know if you're on the call, from 4 location to 20 location, rapid growth, 60 people per class, 15 days wait line. Like, it's killing it. And by the way, if you can look this and zoom it, they have 4.9 reviews, 1.2 thousand. But look at the next one, 4.5 with 74. This is a winning gold medal by a mile. And then you have Hotworks with 4.9 with 83 reviews. Who do you think customers will choose first to call when they want to book yoga services? Right? And you know what's the excuse for others? Like, you don't have to wait. We are open now. Come here. You want a class today? We're all open. This is the reason why you should focus on this. And by the way, Google doesn't tell you what strategies they do. They don't tell you how much traffic they are sending these guys. They don't give them a gold medal to saying you are the gold. These guys just figured it out. And they cracked the code. And they're enjoying the ride. Now, it's not that hard, guys. Fun fact, I have a question for you. Put a chat mouse. Says, how many 5-star reviews do you need to capture in order to eliminate one bad effect of one 1-star review? Let's say, how much punishment is 1-star review and how many good things you need to do to totally delete that negative effect? Mia, 45. Come on, put a number there. What is your assumption? 25. Okay. Fact is 80. You want to go back where you were before you got that 1-star? 80! Isn't it worth being a little bit better business and replying and doing things? And then the question is, what's the average rating of local gyms out of 100 brands in 20,000 locations? Average. If you put them all in one list and put average number on a spreadsheet, 4.85, guys. So 4.85 is a middle ranking. It's not even bronze. Unless you're 4.9 or you annihilate the number of reviews in every other aspect, you're behind. So how to dominate? I'm going to teach you now how. I hope all this so far was the reason why you should pay attention to this. Now it's easy part. How? You can automate all these things and get it done. Optimize my Google profile. 50% businesses never claimed. Half of you guys on this profile page, maybe not you, but businesses never claimed ownership. And 30% of them have outdated information. 90% of businesses don't even use the video in Google My Business listing. You got to flood your business with Google reviews because without 1 out of 2, you know how I assume how many members you have? I multiply number of your reviews times 200 and that gives me total number of contacts you ever served in your life. Because 1 out of 200 will leave your review, guys. If you don't do nothing, if you do something, 1 out of 20, it's 10 times bigger. You can tenfold your results and improve website content because more than 50% of websites don't meet 3-second rule. I'll teach you about that in a second. It's going to be shocking. You'll be in awe. It's easy to fix and it's huge impact. Now, optimize Google My Business. This is a checklist. I'm going to share this with you later on when you put a rating on a speaker /me. You got to claim the business listing. So easy. You got to make sure all information is accurate. It's so easy to do that. When you check the pictures you have on the business, oh my God, you'll be ashamed. All services are good listed. Tell the business, tell the Google who the heck you are. And photos of space, videos of services, add the content. That's the first impression, guys. Now, this is cool. I'm going to tell you a 3-second rule. When I learned this, my world changed. Because of this rule, today I literally own the Referrizer company. I'm not joking. This is eye-opening. Your website, open your website on the second tab, listen to me and just audit your own website. Does your website have screaming headline? That's 4 to 5 words that can be read in 3 seconds. And that tells about what you're doing instantly. Right? So rule number 1, make a check if yes. Does your website have outstanding picture immediately talking about your audience, your target market, presenting services and so on? Can you just read a headline and say, I know what this business is about? And can you just look at a picture without even reading a headline and know what this business is all about? And then does the text talks about them, not about you? Do you use me, mine, us, ours, or you, yours, and talk about them? Do you talk about solutions and benefits, not the features? Huge difference. Many people don't know the difference. And rule number 4, call to action. Do you have sense of urgency, limited availability? Do you have seasonal thing that makes people know that this is expiring or is limited available? And 5 is, do you have social proof? Do you tell them about how cool, good you are, how many locations you have, how many clients you served, how many services you rendered in the past, how many years are you in the business, how many reviews you collected so far across all the platforms? And this is ultimate test. Mark my word. Take your phone. Where's my phone? Take your phone and then open your website. When you go networking, when you see the stranger or somebody you don't know, open your website and show them. Says, what is this business about? And let them look. And then you count to 3. 1, 2, 3, and then you take the phone away. If in those 3 seconds they come back and say, hold on, I didn't see enough, you lose it. That's all you got, buddy. 3 seconds is our attention span, or they're moving to competitors. And if you have an awesome website that matches these 5 rules, and you can open any enterprise businesses, they all match these rules. Period. I see the businesses with the big logo in the middle of the screen. Boom, what's this about? It's not even a feature, it's not even benefits. It's just a big ego piece like this is us. No, far from it. Logo is earned position to be on top left, little one. That doesn't speak value until it's built up the value. So this is the 3 seconds rule. Test it out. Now, competition, optimizing once you do all this job, you might win a gold medal if the competition is not doing SEO strongly. If the competition is doing SEO, then there's a way to hack through the SEO. Many business owners, again, wants to optimize their page based on the main keywords like fitness in my city or hit workout in my city. Those are the most competitive keywords, most dominated and hard to beat. You gotta play the game in such a huge demand and low competition keywords. And there's the tools like Google Trends or Google Keyword Planner or Answer the Public that's gonna scan the whole world of every search sent to Google and it's gonna compare how many people are searching for that topic and how many people are competing on that topic. So you are way better off really putting one article, one topic and being number 1 for that article because nobody's competing on it. You're playing competition game. You will get a gold medal, honor, and be a hero in different sports. You choose where to compete. Good SEO companies will make you win 100 times, 1,000 times on the keywords that are easy to win instead of fighting for years and never winning on a keyword that you thought it's the main one. And it's not. All the keywords about how, what, when, and so on talks about it. Play with that tool. You'll find it. Now, I want to wrap up with this as well because my goal is all about contribution. It's all about helping you really understand. And sometimes you guys don't have time. So what we're going to do is we are going to audit your business literally at no cost. I have businesses paying me $1,000 for audit. We're not doing this now. I'm not selling you. This is just your request. Again, we can do it for 5. We'll audit everything you have and do a quick business review on a Google My Business listing, all how you dressed up, all 6-point checklist, and as well technical audit of your website, 5 rules on conversion, and your performance of the SEO. You will get full immersion about understanding what is the business doing and how to really beat those competitors. Take a link on the take advantage of these guys. This is not something we do often, and I want you to take advantage and really compare yourself with everybody else. Now, I'm open for questions. Anybody has any questions, guys? Feel free to punch in, raise the hand, put a chat, and also, while you're typing the questions, rate the speaker so you guys can get this presentation and as well all the resources. And let me know what can we do to make this better even next time. So, appreciate you guys coming up on scan this QR code to submit your review, submit your feedback, and looking forward to see you on the next event. What would be my first step you would take to improve SEO? Doom, Milica is asking question. That's a first step is understanding how good you are, where you're in competition and doing assessment. It's qualification for your Olympic Games. And seeing how well can you do it and href SEMrush, other tools are as well good for understanding that and seeing competitors. Auditing your own business is not good enough unless you audit the competitors. You got to see who are you competing. Running a marathon is not going to get you to Olympic Games until you know what's the requirement to win that Olympic Games. So, Jeff says, Andre did great. I don't know who I'm more impressed with. Both made huge impact in my business already. Thank you, Jeff. So it's all about value. Ben, what do you see as the best in-studio tools to coach and coaching to drive your business to the top? So simple as that. I'll tell you, reviews are the easiest way. Use the software that can automate your review capturing, that integrates you with your booking system. We're a Referrizer, we do this. But regardless of tools you do, Referrizer or many other tools, automate the process and ask them for feedback and use the process that's going to protect you from getting bad reviews out. Second, train your team to do this before the class, after the class. Make it challenge, right? Make it a 1 month challenge. Make it sure that people understand how important this is for you. If you watch my podcast with Craig after he won the challenge with the 172 reviews, there's a step-by-step process. Include the team. It's a teamwork. It's automation, it's SMS, it's email, and it's teamwork. And it's easy. You can set it and forget it and be number one. Trust me on this. And by the way, you don't want to get this 172 is, honestly, I never seen anybody getting 172 in a month. And I was wondering how the heck he did not get flagged by Google. You don't want to get too many reviews too fast. This is extreme situation. I don't recommend going after that number. It's better to get 10 a month for a year or 20 a month for a year, and you slowly but dominantly stay there and keep growing. How do you recommend business handle negative reviews to minimize? By the way, do you know you can delete the bad review? You can ask Google to take them out. You can complain to Google, says this is a scam, this is conflict of interest, this is wrong. They will take the bad review out. It's almost like you save yourself 80 good reviews. You can do that. Second, you can call the client and says, listen, I appreciate your feedback. I get 1-star review. Very first, we have 350 reviews in Google. I get 1 star, and we stopped everything. It was like, we need to understand what's happening in the business. You go in, you assess the situation, who did what's wrong. And I called the client back in Canada. I was like, okay, listen, I'm not going to use her name, but she was the owner of the hair salon. Like, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you for giving me feedback and really teaching me about something that I did wrong. I would really appreciate even more if you tell me from your experience what was wrong. What did we do bad? And the person was surprised that me as the owner of the company gave her a call. I was like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And she started apologizing. I was like, yeah, but I called it, nobody answered it, and I was frustrated, I needed a solution, nobody was there, and so on. And other reasons, like, oh my God, thank you so much for letting me know. Our phone system was down, so nobody could call anybody. We didn't know. So you just helped me figure it out, not only for you, but for everybody else. What could I do? Is there a world where I can do something to turn your experience around and make it 5-star experience? I'm not asking you to change your ranking, but I'm asking you to give me a chance to change my experience, to go from bad taste to good taste. I was like, oh yeah, but if you could do this for me. So we went back, onboarding was done, and she changed it to 5 stars. Guys, you can fix reputation easily. It takes a little bit of effort. New York hotels are paying $700 to $1,000 to the customer who give them 1-star review to remove it. That's how valuable those are. Awesome, guys. I want to say thank you for everybody to joining this conference. Appreciate you. Next one will be announced soon with another line of speakers. We are keeping them as a secret because they're gonna be some awesome, cool speakers and topics. And I want to thank speakers today, Ben and Jeff, for you guys putting your time and presentation and really giving your best. There's a lot more that you could do at this moment, but on behalf of the community, for people watching this live or recorded, I want to say I appreciate you guys for coming up today, and for my team who helped make this happen, right? Who organized this, who invited all of you, and who are pushing this online so the community can really benefit. This is all us doing things for you. Thank you for attending this conference, and I'm looking forward to see you another time. Until then, stay healthy, stay great, and See you then. Bye, everybody.